maybe I can have a conversation with this guy, and maybe my specific presence, my ideologies versus his ideas, if we merge together, we can go out and create and accomplish some incredible things. All right. I play that, and I bring this up because every last one of you listening to me right now has the ability to do it. Every single person. This is not the politician's responsibility. This is not the government's responsibility. This is not something that you need to go look for assistance for. This is something that goes on in your own heart and in your own mind. This is something that you really want in life. Now, Olney was more on the rich side. I could say the suburban side. They had the late Coach Vassos, who was known in the community as the coach with the money, the coach that was loaded. And they had the resources, the financial resources. They had the fundamental talent. They were the only Bears, and they played their ass off, and they actually ended up beating us that year, the year before, the year 2000, before 2001. So the year prior was when I was in fifth grade. They ended up beating us. We had a close game against them in the regular season, and then we made it to the championship, and we ended up losing, like not just losing, but getting our ass smacked, like getting our ass beat. So what happened was that year in 2001, we made it all the way to the Super Bowl, and we lost the Super Bowl and lost the Super Bowl game. But what happened was, with the reason that we lost that game, and I can confidently say this, obviously can't be proven, but I can confidently say this as someone that went through it. We lost that Super Bowl because right before the game, two of our star players were overweight. All right. They would, at this stage, they would weigh us before every game, and we had to be a certain weight in order to play because, you're dealing with politics and you're in the DC area and all that kind of stuff. So two of our star players ended up missing weight, which was complete BS, because what happened was before every game, the coaches would actually weigh every player. So you're telling me between the night before they weighed them and then these scales. So anyway, I won't get too off track because I'll start talking about that and I'll forget about the subject today. Anyway, we lose the Super Bowl game. And I remember during that banquet when Coach Bryant actually made the announcement that we're going to Pop Warner, that, he was kind of mentioning, all right, some of these guys from Olney, some of these guys from Montgomery Village, a lot of the teams that we played, they're going to be joining us, Maplewood and stuff like that. They're going to be joining us. All right. So you got to know a lot of the things that we kind of said about them, a lot of the mindset that you had towards Deontay and, Nick and Dominique and some of the other guys that were coming from these other programs. Now y'all got to mature. All right. Y'all got to mature, understand as men, hey, y'all were, rivals, or y'all were playing against them or whatever. And now it's time to mature, to do bigger things and do something for your city, do something from your county, for your county, do something for your area that has not been done. So what happened was, we move over to Pop Warner. We merge with these guys that we played with just in the county. We go undefeated. The head coach of the team, again, came from Olney. We got the head coach of the team, his name, the late John Vassos, and then the offensive coordinator, Coach Jamie Staines. He was the offensive coordinator for my team. And then the defensive coordinator, Coach Mike Wills, he was defensive coordinator. And they were like magicians. I mean, Coach Jamie came in and he implemented a pass game to go with our run that was just not fair at the youth level. It was not fair at the youth level. All right. Coach Mike, again, kept it simple when it comes to defense. Hey, just find the football. And Coach Vassos had that perspective. He had that perspective of being a very successful businessman, understanding how teams are run, understanding how, everybody has their roles. And he had us going into every single game believing that we were going to win. The first game we played was against the Northwood Rams, this team that was dominating the Pop Warner League for years. All right, dominate. I mean, this the national champions. He would tell us the weeks before we played that first game against Northwood, he would be telling us weeks and weeks in advance. These are the national champions. You're walking into you're going to Baltimore. You're going to the hood, like you went to the hood parts of Baltimore and going and trying to play the Northwood Rams. Do you see my point? Do you see how wrong people are getting it? Do you see how the current media system and the current people who want you think in a certain way can paint somebody as some villain, some misogynist, some person who's just bad for this country, can have you actually believing that as even after the landslide victory, even after so many people Clearly, the entire country has made their voice clearly heard. Even after, they're still feeding into this. And if you don't do your own research and really look at who people are, what they're all about, eventually your situation will only get worse. You can't depend on the people who are only feeding you negative information, negative stories.